Okay, first question. When you think back to your childhood in Chandigarh, what memories stand out the most?
A lot of memories. In fact, Chandigarh has given me a lot in terms of culture or my values. And I was doing theatre in Chandigarh, but I was just 5 years old when I decided to be an actor.
You're 5 years old.
Yeah, yeah. And first memory was my dadi mimicking Dilip Kumar, Devanand, and all the actors of yesteryears. And the filmy Kida came from my dadi.
You were saying your dadi mimicking Dilip
Yeah,
Kumar.
yeah. I've never seen a lady, especially of that age, who had so much of love for cinema, so much passion for cinema.
Yeah.
And I think that passion comes from my dadi.
Yeah. But I mean, was there anybody else interested in the arts at all in the family? Was it like a business family?
My father, though he's an astrologer, it's a very different profession.
Yeah.
But he loves playing flute, and he's got this inclination towards music, Indian classical music, and yeah, it's a filmy family.
So what were your early film watching experiences like?
You know, early film watching experiences were mix of Punjabi and Hindi cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Punjabi cinema is very famous in Chandigarh. That's the capital city. And
actually, I wish it was more famous, but it's not as famous as it should be, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, Hindi cinema, I think early, it was maybe Qyamat Se Qyamat Tak, QSQT, when I saw it for the first time, I decided to be an actor. I loved Amir Khan in that. And when I was in school, I loved Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar.
Yeah.
That was a big influence.
Yeah.
Then I also used to watch movies of the 80s, Arth, and I think there was this schism between parallel cinema and commercial cinema back in the day, which is now, it's not there anymore.
It's not there, but
But yeah, those were the beautiful influences, and everybody was a huge Bachchan fan, and I was also a Govinda fan. He was a tremendous performer.
Yeah.
So 90s, though people said it was a dark age of Indian cinema where people never used to go to theatres and spend money, and VCRs were there. But I'm the child of 90s, So
I mean, for us, that's what we watched.
Exactly.
So, I guess. Yeah, but so you went to the theatres and regularly and watched movies?
When I was in 9th standard, I think 8th standard, Dil To Pagal had released. So I'd watched this film after taking ticket in black, all alone. And throughout the film, I was standing because there was no seat in the theatre.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And none of my friends were, interested in watching the film because it was next day of Diwali, I still remember. It must be 98, 97, 98.
Okay, tell me something. At 5, you decided you wanted to be an actor. But, a lot of people think that. What point did you start taking it seriously? Like, seriously enough to tell your parents or tell your family that, okay, this is what I want to consider doing or make decisions according to it?
Intrinsically, I'm a very shy person. Don't come across as a shy person, but I was very shy as a kid.
Okay.
I had a certain talent, and my dad thought, he's talented, he should not be shy. So he used to force me to perform on stage. Like every birthday party used to be my performance party. It was so crazy that people used to enjoy birthdays, and I just dance karta tha wahan jaake, like that. Or when we used to go for dinner and evenings in a restaurant. And there was this orchestra playing, and they used to play old Raj Kapoor songs. They used to mimic like Raj Kapoor as a kid. And my dadi and my dad used to tell me how to do it. And but later I started enjoying it. So I used to take part in co-curricular activities in school. And I don't remember there was any other kid who was like 5, 6 who used to mimic old actors of yesteryears.
Okay. Now I want to come to theatre. You did a lot of theatre, but you also, more importantly, founded 2 groups.
Yeah.
Right? Why did you found the 2 groups? I mean, what stood out for me was, I don't know what the Chandigarh scene was, theatre ka, but you founded youth theatre groups.
Yeah.
Was it because there weren't enough youth theatre groups? Usually that is the case in most cities other than Bombay, where...
Chandigarh is not like Delhi and Mumbai. People really don't appreciate art. Sorry to say that, but yeah, I think times are changing now. I think we're going through this transition now, but normally लोग ये बोलेंगे यार नहीं ये क्या काम कर रहे हो तुम? We used to do street theatre and used to collect money from people on the roads, and theatre is very basic, and intrinsically all the Punjabis are very shallow. They're loud. वो हम theatre नहीं करेंगे, हम सड़कों पे नहीं घूमेंगे. We are like stars in our own right. Every Punjabi thinks like that. Sometimes I feel like I'm a South Indian trapped in a North Indian body, because I think all the theatre people are very simple. They like cutting chai. They don't believe in cappuccinos. I don't know. Maybe times are changing. I don't know. But Chandigarh...
Not in Bombay.
Not in Bombay. But Chandigarh gave a perfect environment for a revolution. to get that rebel out of you,
Yeah.
You need that kind of an environment.
Yeah.
When people tell you this is wrong, you can't do this, and you know it's right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm talking about 2001, so it's been 10 years now.
Yeah.
So 12 years.
Yeah.
And I think times have changed now. People are watching theatre, and there are a lot of plays happening in Chandigarh. But you know, there was always this schism between people who used to like theatre and people who never understood theatre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what kind of plays did you guys do? I mean, if you started a young theatre company, what?
Though there's a professional course in Punjab University, there's one department of Indian theatre. Anupam Kher was part of that theatre group, Mangal Dhillon, and a lot of theatre actors. They are from Chandigarh. They've studied theatre in Chandigarh. But I've done amateur theatre.
Yeah.
My first play was Merchant of Venice, where I played Shylock's character in 5th standard. Then there was this musical called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat by Andrew Lloyd Webber. In school again, but I formed 2 theatre groups, and I've done theatre only in Hindi in college. Street theatre,
What kind of
one-act
scripts
plays.
were you guys picking up? Writing your own scripts or picking up scripts? Or?
There are 2 theatre groups. One is Aghaz,
And
it's
the
of
other
DAV
is
college.
the Manchatantra.
Yeah,
right?
other one is Manchatantra, and Aghaz was 1 act. Manchatantra was more full-length plays and street theatres. We used to do street theatre normally. Because easy, there were no big production values involved, and there was more reach. You could just go to different areas, Lake, shopping sector, Sector 17, and probably go to Delhi and perform a play.
So are those 2 groups still active?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah? And who runs it now?
My juniors in college, they're still running it. But yeah, we were the founder members in 2002, and initially we were really bad. Yeah, in fact, there was no exposure. Being from a small city, we went to this place called Bits Pilani, and we didn't know what street theatre was, you know, and we staged. We converted a stage play into street play, and we were booed away. And 9 months down the line, we went to IIT Powai and made a street play, and we got the first prize. So we used to travel and get a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
But now I think these kids are quite lucky who are in college now, because they travel a lot. They watch different kind of theatre across the nation.
Yeah.
But that was the first theatre group from a non-metro city who got the first prize in IIT Powai in 2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you miss theatre?
I think this is the best phase of my life. I will not lie, I'll be really honest. But you know, I love acting. That's it. It could be theatre or films.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you know,
I think theatre is definitely food for soul, not for your stomach. It doesn't pay you well.
You know, you said that you've taught yourself. You've started acting literally when you were a child, and you've taught yourself. Did you never want to train professionally as an actor? Did you take any sort of workshop or courses in anything, either voice or anything?
I think while we were doing theatre, we used to just have workshops. There were the directors used to come from NSD and DIT, which is Department of Indian Theatre in Chandigarh. That's about it. And I had crash courses before Wiki Donor, in fact. There's this person called Professor N.K. Sharma,
Of course.
Act 1 Theatre Group. You know him?
Everyone knows N.K. Sharma.
You know Panditji. I don't know. Different opinions. People have different opinions.
Yeah, but you know, it's like people like of that stature, there'll always be different opinions. He's earned all the different opinions. So.
Yeah, but what's your opinion?
Well, we'll get to it when the camera's on. I only have stories here. See, he was a generation before us, right? So our brush was also, but you've grown up on N.K. Sharma stories from like many generations, right?
So Shujit Sarkar was part of Act 1.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And he was like, you have to meet Mr. N.K. Sharma and he'll take you through this workshop for 20 odd days. And I was with him and it was good fun.
Okay, I wanted to move to music. When did you start composing?
In school, with my friend Rochak. He was my batchmate in St. John's, Chandigarh. And we were part of this choir, school choir, and we used to compose music for own productions, for own theatre productions. Yeah. Okay. And these are all old compositions. But Pani Da Rang happened in like, second year of college. Saadi Gali from Nautanki Sala. It's almost like a high school composition. Though they evolved over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all old compositions, and it just happened with theatre. Like, theatre के साथ साथ संगीत का भी रियाज होता रहा. It's like that.
Tell me about your musical influences while growing up. You said your dad was into Indian classical.
Yeah.
What was the range of music you were listening to when you were growing up?
I was majorly into ghazals as a kid, and my dad was a huge ghazal fan, classical music fan, and it would be really mundane for a child to go through Indian classical. Or he used to, I used to take classical training as a kid, but never took it too seriously. Yeah, so I regret it now, I think.
Did you guys have access to Punjabi folk?
Yeah. Gurdas Man was also a huge influence. Gurdas Man was like popular Punjabi folk.
Yeah.
If not completely parallel, or maybe.
I mean, he did parallel stuff, but
yeah, he did. Yeah. But of course, there were influences of even Shiv Kumar Batalvi and other influences, Pash. They were like hardcore Punjabi writers, and that happened in college mostly.
Okay, what I wanted to also know is, why did you not consider a career in music? I mean, you know, I remember watching you win one of the many awards you won this season. I don't know which one it was anymore, but you remember being surprised and saying, okay, I really didn't, this is not when you got the best song or something like that. Why did you not consider a career in music as a composer or as a pop singer or any of those things?
You know, I'm also an Indian Idol reject. I've tried.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm also a pop star reject, Channel V.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you wanted, did you want that, or was that?
In fact, I think I'm more of an actor. Acting comes more naturally. And the best part is, acting is easier than music. Because it's very subjective, it's very relative. Acting has no set of rules. You can go anywhere. Music के तो 7 सुर होते हैं, उसके तुम भटक नहीं सकते इधर उधर. So I think I'm more of an actor, and I think acting is easier than music.
But you did consider it at some point?
I did, yeah.
That's something you might want to do?
But I think I'm happier now, because I think I have a certain texture, but it's not a trained voice for sure. I'm better off now as an actor who sings.
Ayushmann, I don't know if you've noticed, but there aren't really.
I know.
That's really not the criterion anymore. So a good voice.
I know. I've got a good studio voice. I am. To be honest, I'm also I'm a purist.
Also,
so I'm also self-critical.
You have an original voice. You have a very distinct voice, which is.
I think compositions are always simple, and if I don't try too hard. ज़्यादा मुर्खियाँ वगैरह हरकतें नहीं करता हूँ. It's sweet, simple. Both the songs, Tu Hi Tu and Saadi Gali and Pani Da Rang.
Yeah. So tell me about, I know I'll come to roadies a little bit later, but why RJ? Like, was that something that, because that was also, our generation was the first one that saw the resurgence of FM. So was it something that just happened, or something that you really wanted to do?
It happened.
How did you
I'd come to Mumbai to be an actor.
Yeah.
And I was giving my folio to one of the people one of the persons in Big FM, who happened to be, he was part of Sony.
Yeah.
And while I was going down the lift, he called me up and he was like, "Do you want to be a radio presenter?" I said, "No, I never thought of being a radio presenter." Yeah. And he was like, "Okay, give it a shot. There's this audition going on next door. Give it a shot. You never know." And I was selected. I was sent to Maika Ahmedabad for 2 months to train as a radio presenter. And I was sent back to Delhi. Because I had this local connect, my language is very Delhi, very colloquial. Yeah. It's very important for a radio presenter to know the city well. I didn't know anything about Bombay. Yeah. So I became a presenter for 2 years, and I think the combination of theatre and radio made me a decent anchor on television.
Yeah. But what was it? What were the radio days like? What did the job entail, and what kind of popularity was it? It must have been really it's a very different field. It
very
links up.
But theatre of the mind, and I think radio presenters are like anonymous stars. One day I was just preparing for my show in a cafe, and there was this bunch of guys and girls talking about me and praising my show, and they had no idea I was sitting right next to them. So that feeling is very surreal, I think, when you are popular but people don't know you.
So there's still something very romantic about radio.
It is.
There is that.
I think radio. People, they're like superhuman, not super, but they're like Superman, Spider-Man. उनको देखा नहीं है हमें कैसे दिखते हैं, कैसे होते हैं. You just hear them. But
and you used to do your own writing? Did you script yourself?
Own writing, and my producer Rani, who's now my manager. Okay. So she helped me out with the local Delhi connect, because my mother is from Delhi, but I really didn't know Delhi that time. Okay. So she used to tell me इस flyover के नीचे ये परांठे वाला है, उसका नाम ये है. वो इतना नमक डालता है, उसका सब कुछ पता था.
And the music, did you?
I used to enjoy my music. The best part about being a radio presenter was I was one of those kids who was aware about music and retro.
Yeah.
So that was good fun.
Yeah. What kind of music did you play?
Mixed retro and
Hindi,
contemporary. Hindi, of course.
Okay.
I've done public speaking in Hindi, theatre in Hindi.
Yeah, and poetry in Hindi. Which
Poetry in Hindi.
Eventually. Yeah. Okay, roadies. How attractive was reality TV when you auditioned? I mean, it was just coming in to India. It wasn't everywhere.
Yeah, reality television was not popular in India that time. 2002, Pop Stars. 2004, roadies. I was in top 5 in Pop Stars, Channel V Pop Stars.
Okay.
And roadies just happened. Roadies was very different back in the day. There was no bitchiness and it was clean.
Actually, that's what I was going to ask you. Was it ever, for somebody
it was just a journey from point A to point B, and there was just tasks thrown in between.
Because I've only associated roadies with that very mean-spirited, aggressive competitiveness, which was...
Nobody was competitive in season 2.
Which I could not connect with your personality. So I really wanted to know how that worked.
And I'm not competitive as a person also. I'm very laid back, contented. And roadies, I went for roadies because I love traveling and meeting new people. That's it. There was no agenda that roadies will take me to cinema. I'll become an actor if I go to roadies. There was no agenda. I just wanted to go to roadies just to have fun. And I remember in my batch, they were like people like Astha Khanna who went to London School of Economics after roadies. There was this Neha Bhatia from National Law School, Bangalore. So they were very sorted kids. And they were very diplomatic. Nobody used to fight. Nothing.
A bunch of sharks.
And that's why it was like the worst season ever. The TRP was so low, it was so boring. Nobody wants to see season 2 now.
Okay, what other shows did you audition for? I just found out you auditioned for Indian
one
Idol.
Zee Cine Stars Ki Khoj. It was like a reality series for actors. And I was rejected in Chandigarh only, regional round. Because all other contemporaries were like 6'3", brawny.
Yeah, I know. Chandigarh se to you would have stood no chance.
But Hindi aati nahi thi unko. Hum Hindi Punjabi accent mein.
Hindi
so I was just rejected with the face value only. I was just standing there. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So tell me how the VJ thing happened. Is it a job you applied for or?
When I was doing radio in Delhi, I decided, okay, I'll go to Bombay and now I have to be an actor.
Yeah.
And I came to Mumbai and I was doing this daily soap.
I didn't know you did a
Very few people know about it, yeah. I was doing this daily soap for Balaji for a couple of months.
What was it called?
And,
what was it called?
It was called Qayamat.
My God, I have so much to Google.
There was this, I think nobody knows about it. Like very few people know about it. I was playing the second lead, not even the lead role, in a daily soap.
Okay.
I was playing younger brother of the lead. Yeah, and I was called at 4 o'clock in the evening and my shot came at 2 o'clock at night. I had no idea, no perspective of the camera, the field. I was going out of frame and I was so depressed. I want to just pack my bags and go back to Chandigarh.
How long did you do this?
For a couple of months. And then did Ekthi Rajkumari for like 4 months. Qayamat was on Star Plus and Ekthi Rajkumari was in this channel called Zee Next. And it was a deliberate move that I didn't want to do a television show on a mainstream channel because, I don't know, I was a little embarrassed. And I had to run of course, I had to earn money also. Yeah. So I was doing this show on Zee Next. I thought, acting is all about practice. It's a habit. So I'll get habituated and learn how to act more, evolve more as an actor maybe. But I don't know. I think fiction on television is still regressive.
In India, yeah. It's so sad because it's so amazing elsewhere.
So I thought I always wanted to do non-fiction, which is like slightly better than fiction.
Yeah.
And I'd accepted that I'll be a fiction actor and I'll do radio and that's my life. And I think the turning point of my life was when I was selected as an MTV VJ. And that's the only time I really cried. Tears of joy. बोलते खुशी के आंसू. पहली बार तब हुआ था. When I became an MTV VJ. Because I accepted that I'll be an actor on television and this is my life and I was happy about it. I was very contented. This is it. But when I became a VJ, I was like, dude, now I'll be a film actor. This is like my ticket to Bollywood. Because by default, every VJ gets a chance in cinema, and it happened eventually.
Okay, what shows were you offered when you started up?
My first show was What's Up?
Yeah.
MTV What's Up, Voice of Youngistan. And they were auditioning all the radio presenters. It was a very radio-like show.
Yeah.
Based on current affairs, different twists.
You having fun at MTV?
Yeah, I was having a lot of fun. In fact, MTV became Desi after 2000.
Yeah.
You know, and I made my own niche of a filmy guy. There was this Nikhil Chinappa who was a DJ and the cool guy, and Ran Vijay who was a tough guy, roadies. Jose was the funny guy. Bani was, and to me was a filmy guy. There's a definite space there for a filmy guy, and I was pretty okay with it.
Yeah, it was like making a character.
Yeah.
It's sort of slightly different from yours.
And I was being myself. There was no facade of a cool guy, you know. Nothing.
Yeah, actually, I feel like the movies have become better because
television was better in 80s.
Yeah, taken over.
Because it was not a mass media that time.
Yeah.
A slum dweller never used to afford a television set that time. It was for classes. Now it's not for classes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that movies are now, because they've taken up that space, so movies have to change their game.
Movies are massy that time.
Yeah, and movies have now become, well,
correct.
You know, great.
Yeah.
Great for a lot of people. Okay, so you were already a TV celebrity.
Yeah.
Did you also have a sort of struggle period going to studios, going to auditions and stuff like that, or was it relatively easier because you were a TV celebrity already when you started to actually want to start acting in films?
I did not give many auditions, for films in fact.
How come?
I think there were only a handful in fact. I was doing a lot of television. I think television is a very safe space to experiment and do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because the shelf life or the attention span of a television audience is very short. एक show आता है, दूसरा चला जाता है. You can do a lot of stuff. You can make fun of people, do buffoonery. But when it comes to films, you have to make the right choice.
Yeah.
People don't forget bad films.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
So there was no desperation to act in films. Never. In fact, I was getting a lot of offers. Heroine ka best friend, hero ka best friend, maybe the lead role, but bad script. So I was just waiting. I ठीक है यार, करेंगे तो अच्छा करेंगे. And eventually it just happened. I did not audition for Vicky Donor. Shujit Sarkar was looking for somebody who was a Punjabi and who had a certain youth connect. And by default, I was just fulfilling all the prerequisites of the director. And he liked this Ayushmann on television as Ayushmann. And he was like, हाँ ये Vicky Donor है. It's like that. Sometimes you don't choose films choose you.
Choose you, yeah. Okay.
It just happened.
What was your brief for the role, and what were your references for the role?
I think Vicky is a part of me for sure.
Yeah.
I'm good with the language, colloquial Delhi, Chandigarh language. I belong to that part of the country. And references, maybe my younger brother, who's more loud as a person. I'm quite subtle. I'm not a regular Punjabi guy when it comes to, I don't know. And a couple of my friends. I used to just roam around Lajpat Nagar before the shoot. I used to make notes. Acha ghodu, ye naya shabd aaya hai Delhi mein. And I think it changes every 5 years. The local.
Yeah, it does. Slightly
language.
changes. But
slightly changes.
Yeah.
So I incorporated all these words in the dialogues.
Yeah.
And really helped me. I made friends with all the local kids in Delhi. Used to play cricket every day while I was having workshops with N.K. Sharma. Yeah.
Can you think of something that you brought to the role other than the language, which was not in your brief really, but some small thing that you added to the character?
You know, language played the major part in the role because Shujit Sarkar is a Bengali. Juhi Chaturvedi is from UP, the writer.
Yeah.
So language was the main part because otherwise Vicky's character was slightly passive. It was driven by Dr. Chadda.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he was vulnerable, he was good for nothing.
Yeah.
It was just the language and it was just bang on. It was the major part.
Yeah.
That's about it. I think it was just the language.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted to ask you, move to Ram from Nautaki Sala.
Yeah.
How was that process different? And I'm particularly asking this because, you know, it's in that tradition of films, which is also part of old Hollywood and whatever, which is a double act.
Yeah.
You know, which you do like a proper double act. You had a sort of double act to Kunal, and you guys had to civilly compliment each other. How was your process different as an actor for this? Because it's slightly different now. When you feed off co-actors, that's one thing, but it's different being a double act. So was your process different at all?
I think it was different, but having said that, I think initially you should do characters which you can relate to. If you can relate to the character, you can make the character more believable for the audience.
Yeah.
since I was a theatre actor, Nautanki Sala, I'm a Punjabi, Vicky Donor. Then I was also a struggling actor. Hamara Bajaj will happen. So initially, I'm taking roles which are in my zone. You know, I'm still evolving as an actor and learning as an actor. So I can take direct templates from my real life experiences. So that's very important. And Nautanki Sala, I think the workshops were more rigorous, and it was more challenging because I was playing an actor on stage, on camera. You know, playing an actor, you have to perform out of your skin, I think.
Okay, what is your process as an actor? Are you a more, you know, with the lack of a better word, spontaneous actor, or are you a more studied actor? Are you more method is, you know?
I think mix of both,
Yeah?
I think preparation is also very important. Spontaneity is, I think, it's just a state of mind. If you're happy, you're spontaneous. If you're not, you're not. And you cannot really depend on your state of mind all the time.
You can't.
And if you're prepared, whatever state of mind you are in, you just perform. So I think it has to be a mix of both.
Are there any tricks that you use to get into character? Any mnemonic devices? It could be a smell, it could be clothes. What helps you most when you have to slip into a character?
Since I've only played characters which I can relate to. So it was not that tough. It was not that difficult. Maybe when I was doing theatre, I'd done this play called Andhayug by Dharamveer Bharti. I played Ashwathama. I'm not very aggressive as a person, but Ashwathama was very aggressive. He's violent. So for that, I think there were just workshops, or maybe it takes a longer time to prepare for a character.
Also, you know, with theatre, you stay with a character for so long, right? Unlike with films, you could be shooting 2 films at the same time. You could be...
That has never happened with me. I can never do that, I think.
Never say never. I'm sure the next time I interview you, you'll have lots to say about it. You'll be like flying out of
I'm a very
Jaipur
bad multitasker. No. I get really confused.
No, I was just wondering how many questions you ask your directors. I mean, you could be somebody who at least asks the backstory and says, okay, iska kitne paise kamata hai? Kitne matlab iske ghar mein kitne paise hain?
Initially, we do that character sketch, height, weight, even if it's not the backdrop or the prelude to the character is not in the script. You just make your own character sketch. इतने कमाता है, ये करता है, ये hobbies हैं, ये ऐसे गाने सुनता है.
You know, I actually was wondering when I read that you actually donated sperms for roadies. I was wondering how you felt, because then it's like, you know, I'm sure that was one of the tasks you did, and roadies was like a massive journey. I'm sure you didn't get too much time to think about that one task. But when you started doing Vicky Donor, did you think a lot about that incident? And I really wondered how you'd respond to that last scene in real life if you were actually to meet somebody who is a progeny of yours, but you don't know about it.
That would be amazing.
Did you think about it? Did you wonder at that point?
Never thought about it, but I think it would be no.
Okay.
I don't want to meet him. Him or
I understand.
But I don't know. That person will be in Allahabad right now.
Okay.
For sure.
Allahabad. Okay.
I donated sperms in Allahabad.
You donated sperms in Allahabad.
2004.
Okay.
So अभी वो 9 साल का हो गया होगा, हो या हो गई होगी.
Damn cool. Okay. You know, 3 directors so far. You worked with 3 directors because you know, Shujit, you worked with twice. How are they different in terms of how they direct their actors?
I think Shujit is very earthy as a person. He could relate to the grassroots level because he's seen a lot in life. He's experienced a lot in life. Right from, you know, he didn't have money to buy a ticket for the bus and he used to walk a lot in Delhi, on Delhi streets, and you know that he's seen so much in life that he's so earthy, he's so real as a person, and you could really see that in him when you meet him. And he's also very shy as a person, so don't expect too much from him कि सर ये ऐसे करूँ कैसे करूँ, जो तू करता है कर ले, जो तुझे naturally आता है वो कर दे. He's like that. On the other hand, Rohan Sippy is a Bandra boy who studied abroad and who was very well exposed to all kind of cinema and internationally. He's not filmy as a person, but ironically he's born in a filmy family. You know, so he strikes the right balance between you know, cool quotient and filmy quotient. Rohan Sippy and Nupur Asthana, she's very young at heart. All three projects are very youth oriented. Hip Hip Hurray.
Yeah.
And Mujhse Friendship Karoge.
Yeah.
Even this one, it's a very real, basic script by Habib Faisal.
Yeah.
It's not titled yet.
Yeah.
But Nupur gives the cool quotient to the script.
Yeah. You know, you said a while ago that you should always go prepared. I mean, you can't depend on your state of mind.
Yeah.
Have you noticed what start in a good or bad way? What affects your performance the most? It may not show to other people. You know, it's just for you.
I think the current state of mind, that's most important. I think when you're in front of the camera, if you're not cluttered, even if you don't know your lines, you'll do it. You'll sail through, I think. I think with preparation, I've done a lot of preparation as a radio presenter.
Yeah.
It was 3 hours show I used to prepare for 9 hours or 6 hours.
It was also your first proper big job, so I guess that that was
I was very conscious of the fact that I was not a very natural speaker as a kid. So I developed that over the years.
Yeah. How much do you depend on your co-stars?
A lot, in fact, because it's more than acting. I react. I don't act. I think I only react. A lot depends on the co-star. A lot.
How much would you like to be involved, ideally, with a film over and above your role? You know, like, would you want to know what's happening with the music, or do you like being a part of everything?
I've always been part of music sessions and Vicky Donor, also in Not a Gisala.
No, more than music, anything. I mean, anything over and above your role. Like, would you be like wanting to be a part of everything if the director allowed you to?
No,
No?
Only music and acting, that's it. Nothing beyond that.
Okay, but you know, I wanted to ask you what according to you are the challenges of comic timing, and what are some of the elements that really matter?
I think you cannot develop this skill. It's
that was going to be my next question.
It's natural. I think comic timing is just natural. If you have a sense of humor, you're there. If you can't develop it,
because a lot of other acting skills you can develop.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You cannot develop a comic timing or a flair for comedy. You cannot.
Okay.
And it also depends on the co-actor.
Okay, actors you admire. Have you ever consciously emulated any actor, even if it was not obvious to other people in your own space?
You know, I've done a lot of mimicry in school and college.
Yeah.
So I was very conscious of the fact I don't have to mimic anybody when I'm an actor.
No, but it doesn't have to be mimicry. It can be a look in the eye. Yeah. You can be feeling like Dilip Kumar, but it doesn't mean that you will go acting to chale gayi.
Dilip Kumar.
Yeah?
Yeah. And my grandfather still thinks I look like Dilip Kumar because of the eyebrows. I think maybe Dilip Kumar was one of the natural actors back in the day. And I think Dilip Kumar is a great template for Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan also.
Yeah, of course. They're all like 2.0, 3.0. Yeah. The original was
Dilip Kumar.
Dilip Kumar.
Yeah.
Okay. If any three actors, dead or alive, you could have a conversation with about anything. It doesn't have to be about acting, about the lives they led, affairs they had, whatever. Which three actors would they be? They could be dead or alive, anything, from anywhere.
Also, he was Devanand fan.
Yeah, of course.
And I think he was amazing. Yeah, in fact, it's just that towards the end, he was just living in a shell, or he was too lonely as a person. But when I see all these black and white films like Tere Ghar Ke Samne, that Shimla backdrop, I think nobody can do that.
He was incredible to me.
Yeah, I never met him, so I want to meet Devanand for sure.
Yeah.
And even Raj Kapoor.
Yeah.
And I think Ranbir has glimpses of Raj Kapoor, and
Yeah,
he is the current. He's the new age Raj Kapoor.
Yeah.
He is. Maybe he'll become bigger than Raj Kapoor. Because
Yeah.
he's so versatile as an actor.
Yeah.
And third would be, I used to find Nutan very pretty. And and unlike Madhu Bala, he was very real as an actor.
Okay. What is on your wish list as an actor? Anything. It could be a genre, it could be a role, it could be a director, anything.
In fact, there are a lot of directors, like Rajkumar Hirani or Aditya Chopra, maybe Imtiaz Ali.
Yeah.
And character, I want to play a negative guy.
Yeah.
My first play was Merchant of Venice. I played Shylock.
Yeah.
So I really want to play this negative, devil, wild.
Like pure negative. Because even Ram had shades of both, right? I mean,
yeah, but that was,
yeah, touch and go.
Yeah, touch and go.
Yeah.
A negative guy with a sweet smile. So that will be deceptive and quite intriguing at the same
any genre
time.
that you can think of?
In future, I would like to do action also, because that's completely, people can't, because I've done an aggressive character in theatre also of Ashwathama.
Yeah.
So I would love to do an action role as well.
Yeah.
And but there are like beautiful references of like Shah Rukh in Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na, which was very real, and Amar in Jojita Vai Sikandar, Shah Rukh in Swades, Amitabh Bachchan in Shakti,
Yeah.
or maybe Abhiman also.
Yeah.
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 And I would love to play a singer in any of the projects.
There are lots of do's and don'ts of being a star. It's a fairly new experience for you. But also a lot is changing in terms of how traditionally stars were perceived or supposed to be. Has it been an easy hat to wear so far?
To be frank, I was personally more happy when I was just an anchor. I had never thought about these frills which come with fame or success.
Yeah.
So I was not prepared for it. Though I've seen the industry as an outsider, somebody who's taken interviews and asked a lot of questions, and I'm answering questions.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it. One day I'll be on this show and I'll answer these questions as a film actor, film star.
Yeah.
Never thought about it. I just wanted to act.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is to be as real as possible.
Yeah.
And don't think about these do's and don'ts.
But I'm sure you get a lot of those.
I do, of course.
You shouldn't do this, and
you should be.
So much advice.
You should not be so approachable.
There's so much advice that starts to come as soon as you become a star. I mean, everybody I've spoken to gets all these everybody has an opinion on what films you should do. ये मत करो, career बर्बाद हो जाएगा. ये मत करो, ऐसे मत करो, वैसे मत करो.
सबने बोला था विक्की डोनर क्या कर रहा है, career बर्बाद हो जाएगा.
Are you enjoying the experience? Are you enjoying the perks of being a star a little bit as well?
I don't know, yeah. Even as a kid, I was a silent observer in the class. I never liked too much of attention. I'm okay being alone in the corner and enjoying a good conversation with a person.
Yeah.
I get scared when I get mobbed. Especially when we went for the promotions for Nautanki Sala, we went to a lot of B cities, Kanpur, Nagpur.
Yeah, I guess. But what is also interesting is the experience of stardom right now. See, a lot is changing. Stars are not what they don't have to go live in ivory towers anymore. But there is that double-edged sword of PR and marketing. How do you deal with that? I mean, also, you had some story come out on Twitter, detailed story about your death, or even something small and personal, like something's happened to your domestic help that's in the papers. How have you dealt with is there a set of rules that you've made for yourself and your staff, or are you still trying to find the balance with that, because it's again fairly new? How are you?
This was completely unexpected. Yeah. So I was not ready for both the things, or my.
Of course.
Yeah. In fact, when my domestic help committed suicide, I got the news. I was ready for the shot the next moment. I had to act, and even with these death rumors, I think you can take that joke, but your family can't. My grandfather almost had a heart attack when he heard that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. People don't understand that, but that's okay. What do you do now? I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't
never
do anything.
be prepared for it.
You can make a set of rules for yourself and for your staff, and then you have to deal with it for the rest of your life. It's not. It's not something that. Okay, another very important aspect of stardom now. Fashion and style. Is it something that you enjoy, or is it something that is part of your job for you?
Again, thank God it was a gradual transition. I was part of MTV, and before joining MTV, I was a fashion disaster. I had no idea about fashion. I think you imbibe a lot of stuff when you look at other people. You evolve over the years.
You started enjoying it more now, or is it a bit of a nuisance that you have to worry about?
I enjoy it now. It's like shooting for GQ and L.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about your writing. When did you start writing?
I think during theatre days, in school, college. In fact,
you started with scripts and dialogues, or
no, with poetry only.
Straight away.
Yeah, the street plays, poetry, a little bit of dialogues here and there.
Would you at any point consider writing a film, maybe? Is that something that you want to do?
Yeah, there's one concept in mind. I would like to develop it. It's too early, I think. I still want to evolve as an actor and a singer. I'm still learning as an actor. I think what time knows every. ये तो कर लूँ ठीक तरह.
Okay, a little bit about your poetry. What were your literary influences when you were growing up? What were you reading? Given that your Hindi is as good as it is, what were you reading? What were your literary influences?
You know, my mother is MA Hindi and she doesn't speak in Punjabi. And though it is a Punjabi family, my dad Hindi is also has a Punjabi accent. My mother speaks pure Hindi, and she used to read a lot of Hindi novels. And as I said, I used to read Pash and Batalvi, but she used to read maybe Urdu also, Ghalib and Harivansh Rai Bachchan, all that stuff. And thankfully, my Hindi doesn't have a Punjabi accent because of that.
Yeah.
Because I'm born and brought up in the capital city of Punjab. Yeah. But I used to take part in Hindi debates and declamations. Yeah. And I used to do public speaking in Hindi. I even got this 3rd prize in Akhil Bharatiya Vaad Vivad Pratyogita in Hansraj College when I was in final year of college. And I used to enjoy speaking in Hindi and writing in Hindi. Though I used to take part in English debates and declamations first year.
Yeah.
I thought my USP was Hindi because, it came naturally to me. I used to think in Hindi as a kid.
Yeah. And it's very difficult not to let it get rusty.
I was in a convent school and I studied English literature in college, but did journalism after that. But the love for language was always there.
Yeah, but I'm glad you've kept up with it. Tell me something. Did you have any mentor when it came to poetry? Like, do you take feedback from someone when it comes to poetry?
My seniors in college. There's a guy called Puneet Khanna who was an FTII. He writes good poetry. He was my senior in college. There's Ravi Panthi who joined Indian Army. Now he's taken premature retirement. I don't know why. He's still writing. And I think these two guys, like when I was in first year, they were in final year. And we formed this theatre group, Agaz. I think our seniors were brilliant. Yeah. These two guys were absolutely brilliant.
Do you still manage to write poetry often?
I think last time was when these Pakistani soldiers, I think they mutilated Indian bodies, Indian soldiers' bodies. That was the last time, a couple of months back. Yeah. And and there's another friend of mine, Gurpreet Saini, who co-wrote the lyrics of Saadi Gali Aaja. He's 22, 23 and he writes amazing Punjabi poetry. He's a prodigy. Okay.
Do you keep up with contemporary Hindi writing and poetry? Do you manage to read
No,
still?
not anymore. In fact, I'm not contemporary, not in touch with contemporary poets. But yeah,
इतना है नहीं.
इतना है नहीं वैसे. But yeah, I think everybody has everybody takes these references from Ghalib or Harivansh Rai Bachchan, all the legends. That's about it. I think there are no other.
Do you still manage to read regularly? Anything?
I read non-fiction. In fact, currently I'm reading this novel called The Convert. It's about this Jewish lady who converted to Islam.
Do you have any favorite authors? Do you have any?
I like William Dalrymple. And more so because I've read this book, The Last Mughal. And that was the time when Ghalib was part of the Mughal court. Yes. And it was about Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal. Yeah. Yeah.
And he makes history so accessible, right? He makes it sound
like...
He's
the only writer in the world who's... I love Indian history, so he makes it very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, how ambitious are you? What drives you?
I was very ambitious as a college kid. You know, but I think I want to be contented in life. I don't want to aspire too much, and there should be a balance between professional and personal life. Success is not just about materialistic aspirations. Yeah. The state of mind, if you're happy or successful. Yeah. That's what I feel. Yeah. You should not have over-the-top expectations from yourself. I want life to give me surprises. I never thought Vicky Donor would become such a mammoth of a superhit. Yeah. Never thought. Yeah. And I never expected that my first song, Pani Darang, will become the song of the year. Yeah. And that's why I'm happy.
You know, you said in an interview that I was watching of yours about how, I mean, of course, you were saying it half jest, but how there's a sort of cultural vacuum in Bombay. You know, people don't really speak languages properly. The other thing that you didn't say, but is also the professional class in Bombay is very apolitical unless something happens to them, unless it matters. You know, it's largely, Bombay is like an island. You know, it only, whatever is happening here is the only thing that matters. Your job is the only thing that matters. In a space like this, and you've been here what, a couple of years now, you know,
4,
how
5
do you
years.
How do you retain your individual identity? Is that something that you've thought about ever?
But the city also gives you a lot of space here. It gives you a lot of space. In fact, most of my friends are from college and from school who are in Bombay. And we still feel that, you know, this is, we were overawed by the city when we came here. And we saw this city with stars in our eyes. Okay, this is Mumbai, Indian cinema, and we'll be part of it. And we still feel like that. So I don't feel like a Mumbaiker. I feel like somebody who's just enjoying the city like a traveler.
You know, your name has a numerological correction to it. What is your relationship with A, religion, and B, astrology, given that your father is an astrologer?
There's no relation. In fact, I read Gita almost every day as a text, not as a holy book or a holy scripture. I think it's very practical as a book, but I'm not religious as a person. I don't even like religious symbols. I don't wear that red thread, molly, or even a kada. I don't like wearing a tilak. I want to be neutral as a person. There should be no religious symbol in me. That's a conscious effort. And apart from that, my dad is an astrologer and he changed my spellings when I was in 5th standard. Double N and double R, and made life difficult for me because I used to write double A and single R as a kid. But I generally don't believe in astrology. I believe in my dad. He's very practical as a person, and it's been a great influence. And apart from that, since I'm reading Gita, if I'm Arjun, he's like my Krishna. Let's put it like that.
Okay. What is your idea of leisure? What is your idea of quality of life?
Again, I think quality of life is having time for yourself. I think you only evolve when you're free. Until unless if you're just working, it's just executing, and there's only output. There's no input. So you don't learn when you're just working 24/7. You may become little used to your craft, but I think you cannot learn when you're just working. You need that space, and I'm very lazy as a person.
Okay. What do you want most from life? And you cannot say acting. You've already given that answer like a billion times.
Acting is not my life.
What do you want most
acting is just part of it.
But what do you want most from life?
In fact, I don't want to take acting that seriously. Acting was just a passion. It's happening. Most from life is just happiness, the normal state of happiness and peace. That's it. Otherwise, I think it's very easy to just screw your mind when you're in this profession.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. Final thing. I'm going to ask you to recite a poem of yours.
I need my cell phone.
Okay, you can have your cell phone.
They're like long poems.
Do you remember any?
I remember मुखौटे. कविता का शीर्षक है मुखौटे. एक स्वरचित कविता है. चेहरे ये मुखौटे हैं, मुखौटे ही तो चेहरे हैं. अंदर का राम जला दिया, कैसे उल्टे पड़े दशहरे हैं. अपनी ही आवाज़ सुन ना पाए, हम पूर्ण रूप से बहरे हैं. मन की नदी उफान पा न सकी, हम दिखते कितने गहरे हैं. ये मुखौटे कोई उतार ना ले, लगा दिए लाखों पहरे हैं. चेहरे ये मुखौटे हैं, मुखौटे ही तो चेहरे हैं.